Okay, so I had the opportunity to go to Celebrate Recovery here in Dallas on Thursday night. Um, Dawn and Daniel both lead it, and it's really for anyone, honestly, who has something in their life that is overcoming them. And so I was kind of nervous going to this on Thursday. I've struggled with different things in my life, and so I thought, like, like I can relate to these people. Obviously, like, I've been through some different things that I would definitely make me work well with this group, but I was still nervous. And I thankfully asked, like, if my brother would come with me, and he's such a good sport and said yes. And I do think if I were to recommend this, which I think is the point of going to a recovery program, is trying to see, like, who this would work for and why this would work for them. The church that it was at in Dallas was super sweet and, like, just like a very calm feeling place, not over the top, which was really nice. And it was right off of, like, Northwest Highway. That gives you anything. And they started off with just, like, a simple little Chick-fil-A dinner and like salad and stuff, and that started at 6 p.m. and they had 30 minutes of, like, dinner time, which I wasn't able to make because I was driving from another event that I had. So I got there basically right when worship started, and you were right in saying that it really feels like a worship service. We walked in, and you could just see right away that it was a place that no one cared, like, who you were or what you looked like. There were businessmen, and there were guys who had baggy pants. So it really was like a mixture of lots of different lives, which was kind of nice. Just had a little bit of everybody there. And so a guy that is on the worship team gives his hours to serve in this way, and so he led worship, and it was just him and the guitar, and everybody was singing, and it was really wonderful. I really, really enjoyed it. One, he was really good, and then two, everybody was apart, and it didn't feel like you were the only one there, the odd man out, or anything like that. So I loved that piece of it. I do think I would have enjoyed dinner. One major point that I saw as far as, like, recommending this group to someone in the future is really glad I brought my brother, because it would have been really hard for me as a woman in her late 20s to go to this group in general. And then when you walk in, it's mostly men, I would say in their 40s and up. There are a few younger men, but mostly older men, so 40s and up. And I felt out of place, honestly. And that was really hard to feel, especially, like, I was coming as knowing like this is an assignment, you'd get in, make observations, and then get out. And instead, I really kind of was like, oh, I'm definitely the odd person out. 100% the youngest woman there. There were maybe like 4 or 5 women out of at least 50 men, and they were all older, 40 plus. So that would have been really hard for me, and I would definitely recommend this group to a male in his, I would say, late 40s, 50s. And it felt like it was more maybe alcohol and pornography based addictions. I wouldn't say that there were like too many men that probably struggled with medicine or like any type of drug addictions, but you really don't know unless like I were to ask each one of them what they were previously addicted to. So there's that. So yes, recommend to an older man, either dealing with pornography, being alcoholic, or any type of like addiction, dependency on something, a substance of some kind. I would recommend this to you. After the worship, we all said the 12 steps out loud, which was really cool because I had never actually heard the 12 steps at all. And I do have family members that have been through the 12 steps, so I kind of was like, wow, I'm shocked I hadn't heard them before. But this was like a biblical perspective on the 12 steps. So going through those 12 steps, it was like biblically based, and then they also had a Bible verse connected to each one of them, and everyone said them out loud, which was just nice to like be a part of. And I just love that like everyone there was wanting to be there. Like they were in it. Everyone was saying the words. Everyone was singing. Everyone was talking. Like it felt like a group that wanted to be there, wanted help, wanted wholeness, and that just breeds more people coming in, like myself, coming in and seeing the work that is being done and being like, wow, this is really cool. And that's my like takeaway is it was really cool. After we read the 12 steps, Dawn led that. Daniel came up, and Daniel is and has been a part of this church's ministry team in some capacity over the years, so it's changed a few times, but one of his leadership positions is actually over Celebrate Recovery. So he basically shared his testimony, which was literally the most perfect thing to hear at that time. His testimony was about multiple things that actually my sweet brother has struggled with, and still continues to struggle with, and down to like their stories line up very, very well. And so it just felt so like God appointed. I didn't tell my brother why I was going to this meeting, and he didn't ask, and I thought that was really just like a testament to like his solidarity with me. He had no idea like why I would be going to a place like this, and he didn't ask. He just was like, I'll be there, I'm there. And in turn, the speaker, who was on staff but also struggling with multiple things in his life for his whole entire life, had a very similar story to my brother. So it just was great. And the perfect little God accounted for moment. I mean, it could have been anyone else giving their testimony, and it was this guy who's just like a normal looking guy. He looks like a pastor, and he has struggles too. And it was like so good as just a normal person, anyone sitting in there or not sitting in there, to hear like, hey, you know, I've gone through this, and this is really hard for me, and I still struggle with XYZ. And just like talking about those things is so rare in our community, especially if you're a pastor. And then at the same time, there are pastors that are getting, I guess you would say, exposed for all types of really awful, terrible things. And so it's like, hey, pastors are just human, A, and they have struggles too, B. And if we were to talk about these struggles and work through them and make them known and not hold these pastors on some sort of pedestal, maybe, just maybe, they wouldn't get to a place where they're committing huge, awful, terrible crimes like we see in the news. And so that was just one thing that I was really feeling, was like, this guy worked all day in the church ministering, and he works with couples. He does a lot of different things in the church. And then after his work day, he came and became one of everyone else and sat there and said, hey, I struggled too. And it's so humbling, I'm sure. And I can't imagine how that was for him, especially at the beginning, and what people said and how people perceived him. But at the end of the day, isn't that way better than keeping your issues and your problems and whatever your sin in silence, and then one day it blowing up and destroying lives? So I just really appreciated like his honesty and his willingness to share with the group. And he shared for maybe at least 30 minutes, maybe over that, 45 minutes. And then it was time to break out into groups. And since my brother and I weren't a part of this Celebrate Recovery, we decided to step out. But at that time, they would break up into men and women, and the women just stayed in one little group. And then the men, it felt as though they broke out into more groups, like little table groups, 8-10 people to a group there. And they got to share for, I would say, maybe another hour with each other, and just fellowship a little bit closer in proximity. So it was 30 minutes of dinner, 30 minutes of worship, 30 minutes of a testimony, and then an hour of small group time. They did ask for donations, so it's donation based inside of the group. They also do allow donations from like the actual church to go into this, and then there's like private donations that they accept too. So just people that want to give can give. But it was pretty basic. I wouldn't say like anything crazy, but it really stirred up in my heart the desire to make a place for women to go and feel heard and safe, and just like a girls' night, if you will. Of course, it was like right around Valentine's Day, and just like made me think of Galentine's, and just like girls have problems too, and deep ones, and a lot of times they have to hide those even more than men do. And how awesome would it be if like there was this group that just shared openly like their struggles and their addictions or their like dependencies. So that's kind of like my heart after seeing this is, yes, I want to go like definitely see more places around the area, just to like know what to share with someone if they need help. And then at the same time, I'd either love to find a women like just like happy girly not scary time to share, or I'd like to make one. So that was my impression of Celebrate Recovery here in Dallas.